Well, happy Federation Friday, everybody. Out there watching. What's happening? You have a patch on your head right now.
Yes, I have in honor of Lazarus.
Will it disappear in a little while?
Yes. In honor of clumsy, fall off a cliff twice, Lazarus.
Because what is this episode we're talking about tonight? It is the alternative factor.
The alternative factor.
So what is the alternative?
Switching to ABC or CBS when this episode.
Because I mean, this episode was interesting to say the least, because it was like the same thing. It could have been called the repetitive factor, because every time you're watching it, all of a sudden it's and then they turn negative, and then there's two guys fighting in the negative
zone. Yeah. And why did we have to have three separate beam downs to the planet? And that was like a thing. This episode had such a bad production history. It really from beginning to end it was a disaster. And I did a quick check of the IMDb. We're not alone. This is the lowest rated episode of the first season, with a 5.9, and I think the next lowest one, believe it or not, is Mud Women at like 6.4 or something like that. Which I don't understand because Mud Women was entertaining on some level. It's just painful everywhere you look.
Now is that rating, is that a rating from just IMDb viewers? What was the Nielsen's?
That I don't know, but that's more numbers. So no, try that around here.
We stay away from those.
And it's funny you say the repetitive factor, because one of the chief complaints behind the scenes was we've done this. Kirk has had it double twice, and somebody else had it. The man trap. We had doubles all over the place. So
yes.
Now we're dealing with yet another double. Makes you for a hunk of double gum.
So this episode starts off with them going, or they sense a signal, right? Is that what it is? Or
they're doing a survey, a planetary survey. And I think Kirk says at the beginning, like 4 more orbits and we should be out of here. And then the wink happens, which is the worst name for a phenomenon I've ever heard. Thank you. Are we going to get the fancy news effect too?
No, I was waiting for the.
Yeah. Where does it start? So I will say the episode before the credits, I thought it starts strong. Interesting. The whole universe kind of works out for a second. And we got a mystery on our hands. We later find out the real mystery is how did this get made?
Yeah, what do you think? What do you? I know you alluded to it last time that it could have been the actor dropping out at the last minute.
Yep.
But wouldn't they have already had the story written before Fu Manchu came on?
Yeah. You mean he very weird styles?
Yes.
Wow, even continuity was blown away. I don't care. Antimatter, matter universe, none of it matched up. So part of it was the writer of the episode had never really delved into sci-fi before. Was a friend of Roddenberry's, delivered the script late. They were hoping when they got the script, it would need a polish at best, and it needed a rewrite that wasn't time. So already you're kind of trying to polish turd, for lack of a better term. The actor who was going to play Lazarus, Drew Barrymore's dad, apparently just didn't show up.
Is that Lionel?
Lionel's her uncle, John Barrymore Jr.
Okay.
Who was just a trouble guy. He didn't show. In fact, he got a suspension for 6 months from the Screen Actors Guild for pulling that stunt.
For this episode.
For not showing up in this episode. Personally, I think he probably intends to the medal. But suspension he'll take. And I disappeared again.
So who was the guy that took over?
I think his name is Robert Wood, if I remember correctly.
No, he wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad, but whoops. Did I sorry, problem. Check on an pilot, but he was kind of under pressure and really gave everybody a hard time. Was not well liked what he got there. But in all fairness, he had no time to prepare for this role. Because of what Barrymore wound up with 2 days extra production, cost overruns. There were problems with location shooting. Like everything you could imagine going on in an episode went in this episode.
So the winking out, is that just a cheap way of not having to figure out a decent name for what happened, kind of like a blip?
It's definitely something that was written by a guy who really wrote sci-fi before. That's my take on it, and nobody really caught it and said, "Oh, you know what? This is we got to come up with something better for this." The other part of it is a huge part of the story wound up being completely taken out. So the show was short, significantly short. So not only do they have a rough script, but now they took out a whole subplot of a romance between Lazarus and Lieutenant Masters, and had to fill the time for that. Hence the three visits down to the planet and two falls off a cliff.
Well, I mean, how many times can you have the antagonist have a romance with one of your crew members?
Well, she was going to pull exactly what we just saw 3 episodes ago with Givers, where she helps Lazarus escape. It's no like one of the things I realized while I was doing this. Somebody pointed out a huge plot hole that Lazarus, with no familiarity, walks into transporter chamber, figures out how to set it, and beats himself down. That's a plot hole. It was supposed to be Master joins him and beams him down to the planet so he gets the George Jetson spaceship.
Yeah, because I didn't understand that either. It's like, why? What did he need a spaceship for?
What does well, first it was a time machine, then it changed to a spaceship, then it became a portal doorway. This episode suffers on so many levels, and I was cursing myself that I had to watch it twice because I had started to watch it. We were originally going to do this last week, and then I blocked it out and had to watch it again today.
Yeah, I watched it 3 times last week because it was one of those that I was like, you know what? I don't understand what the heck is happening. And then you have Lazarus. Now, who wrote the script? The screenplay?
Yeah. So who wrote this script was someone who had worked with Roddenberry pretty much exclusively on Westerns and was a friend of Gene's. Let me get his name for you.
Because I'm watching this, and the part that really bugged me, I guess he's in sick bay, and is the whole where he's just screaming kill over and over again.
Oh, 5 times. I wrote it down.
Is it 5 times?
Yeah. Kill, 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 kill. And at that point, I knew exactly how he felt. Don Ingalls was the writer of that episode. Looks like he had written or produced episodes of TJ Hooker, Fantasy Island, 12 O'Clock High, Honey West, and Have Gun Will Travel. Let's see. He also wrote.
So he might have been better on the episode where they were actually in that western town.
Mm-hmm.
With the what was it, like the Day of the Triffids.
He also wrote the original 1979 Captain America TV movie.
There you go.
And let's see, Marcus Welby, MD, Adam 12, The Big Valley, The Virginian, Gunsmoke, Daniel Boone. So, yeah, if you look at all of his stuff, it was either Westerns, and it looks like he had some detective show, Kojak, The Snoop Sisters, Police Story. So definitely out of his element with this.
It doesn't really need to be, though, because just write a story and put it in space.
Right. So, if we remember, Roddenberry actually called this concept when he tried to sell it as Wagon Train to the Stars. And again, maybe it was time constraints, maybe it was just unfamiliarity with the genre, but even the science in this episode is bad. I mean, the only positive things I can say about this episode was I thought they effectively used the music. I thought some of the lighting was particularly good, especially the outside stuff. And that was about it. I mean, there are plot holes you could drive a Constitution-class starship through during this episode.
And why did he, I think you mentioned it before, why is he falling off of every cliff? If you fall off 3 cliffs, you kind of stay on the ground.
Yeah, maybe you don't go up. Yeah, really, really bizarre choices. Like, didn't nobody go back and check 5 pages and go, we had him fall off a cliff already? Can we have him fall off something else? But yeah, this episode to me is painful, and to me, it's definitely one of my top 2 or 3 that I just don't revisit ever.
Now, did you mention that something about Shatner not liking this episode?
He was not a fan. It was nobody from the regular cast was really a fan of this episode. You have characters doing very strange things. For example, this guy. First of all, beginning of the episode, the wink happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Starfleet contacts the Enterprise, and it's the first time we see anybody from Starfleet on the viewer. Usually it's just Uhura gets a message and relays it. And everyone goes, "You didn't think what I'm thinking?" And everyone goes, "Yeah, invasion." Huh? What's the connection there? Like, how does the entire universe winking out suddenly tie into we're being invaded? And by who? Like, is the universe being invaded? Is it the Federation? And that's just left dangling. Why everybody just immediately assumed that that there was some sort of military invasion going on. Solo Girl, yes, I know I'm echoing. I'm sorry. Technical difficulties.
And he needs to steal their dilithium crystals. Is that to power his ship?
Who knows? It's never really clearly said. I'm assuming because he puts it in that little box, which is located right in the door jamb.
Right in the Saturn.
It's George Jetson car.
So this guy looks like he's in prison.
Yeah, the light choicing there was not too great. But yeah.
And this winking out occurred everywhere.
Apparently everywhere, every known quadrant of the galaxy and far beyond. So them are some great sensors that can figure out, everything beyond our galaxy was affected. Again, poor science. And everyone's trying to put it together, and I'm with them so far. And now we get involved with Lazarus.
So who is Lazarus? Why is there another version of him?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question. So first he tells us he's a time traveler. Then it turns out that was a lie. Then he comes from a parallel universe, which is kind of true. But then we find out it's a parallel antimatter universe. And this is where everything, for me, goes to pot. Not only is it a parallel antimatter universe, now, knowing what we know, that even back then, that matter and antimatter, when combined, results in a tremendous explosion as they cancel each other out. We kind of skip over that. And apparently, if you interact with yourself or the same thing from the antimatter universe, that's a problem. But everything else is perfectly fine. So how an antimatter universe person can come to a matter universe with a completely set of rules of physics and everything is just, it's a child could come up with a better explanation.
This would have been, I would say this would have been a decent doorway to the mirror universe.
100%.
And then, maybe not, maybe retcon. I don't know. I guess, back then they didn't really do Easter eggs back then, right?
No, and I don't even think the mirror universe was on their radar.
No, I'm talking about when you got to the mirror universe. You'd say, well, remember we ran into that Lazarus guy who said he was matter and antimatter, but it was actually, the matter was the side from the good side from us, our side, and the antimatter was the evil Lazarus from the mirror universe.
Yeah, but they didn't. Like I said, outside of Harry Mudd making an appearance later on, it was just not something that they even entertained back then. And Lazarus lies through that. And then at some point, I don't know if you caught it, he tells Kirk, "That's my Earth down there." When did Earth come into any of this? So, yeah, this was just bad and distracting and just all around. Like every time somebody opened their mouth, it was like, well, that's not right. Well, that's not right. Here we are. And I have to say, I did, as cheap as it was, I didn't mind the photo negative wrestling. I thought that was more, I thought that was more effective than superimposing the nebula over everything.
And then you have the same music, dun 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 dun. And who is he? Is he fighting himself? Is that the negative and the positive?
Apparently, yes. In that magnetic doorway. So now we got magnets involved too.
So is that why? I mean, because it's the magnetic door. Is that why there's not an explosion and antimatter and matter mixing and blowing everything up?
I would say in the science of this particular episode, yes, that would be the reason. Five times, what I tell you.
So when we see evil Lazarus, he's the one without the patch?
Yes, he seems to be the one who's unharmed. Now, interestingly enough,
more HR violations.
More HR violations here, but there was stuff in the script where they made reference to, wow, he must have some incredible healing properties, because they realized, how did that get fixed so fast? But apparently, we're now the dumbest ship in the quadrant, including that guy in the background who's playing 3D checkers.
4D checkers.
Yeah, he hasn't mastered chess yet. Not as hard as 6D Parcheesi, but we'll get there.
Yes. So which one is this?
He doesn't have a boo-boo, so I think that's the good one. I couldn't even tell after a while. And then I was distracted by the beard, going, maybe we could tell by the beard. But when I did a little research, they just screwed up the makeup repeatedly. Oh, now here's the Nebula doing a Spock hide behind a grid. Even that I like, with the stars behind it, but whatever. I could deal with that.
So now this door is opening up on the Enterprise.
Maybe.
Well,
Again,
that's where they are, right? I mean, he's on the Enterprise. Or is that part of the winking out and the whole universe is feeling it?
I think it's just him because these guys seem totally unaffected. Which, by the way, you have a guy who was part of this winking out of the entire universe. Kirk goes to sickbay. Where is he? I don't know. It's a big ship. What? You let this guy get up and roam?
Well, they do that in every episode when there's an evil lurker or a strange person on the ship where, they give them here's the handbook of how to take us over and feel free to wander around at your convenience.
Yeah. If you need access codes to any secure areas, just let us know. We usually just prop the door open, just makes it easier.
And if you get there's a chance that you get caught, just hide behind one of these honeycomb cages.
You don't know about the honeycombs? Oh, yeah.
That's where the bees hide.
What the hell is that button way up there supposed to do? McCoy just looks like, who wrote this? All right, so now we have
like, I want some marshmallows.
Now radiation comes into play, which shouldn't be there. That's leaking over from the antimatter universe. I think Kirk is being a little tough on Spock in this episode. How could that be? What are you talking about? I don't need poetry. What's wrong? Why didn't your scanners pick it up? Like, everything is Spock's fault.
Yeah.
So now the universe has a rip.
Yeah, so I don't know. This how could he? What did dilithium crystals? How was he able to localize it?
You mean a tear in the entire universe? Yeah, that's a good question. We got to trap him. That's the solution. Okay. How do you propose doing that? Like,
So this is the good guy with the patch on his head demanding stuff.
Is it, or is this the crazy guy? Because at the end, when he meets the nice, calm one, when Kirk falls through the goddamn ship door, I don't think he has a patch on. Here's a captain about to punch out someone on the verge of his ship. And again, is this happening just to Lazarus and they're being somehow pulled into this magnetic gateway to fight? Sure.
And wasn't Kirk pulled in and wasn't he fighting somebody? Was he fighting another Kirk or was he fighting Lazarus?
No, he does fight Lazarus later on, but Kirk just tries to grab Lazarus out of the Jetson car and get sucked in. That's a nice lamp. Like, even as far as continuity, this is a problem. She's clearly in engineering and she's called a lieutenant, yet she's wearing blue and an ensign's uniform. It's like everybody just gave up.
Yeah, this one is ripe.
Yep.
And apparently some kind of action is going on behind this, but we can't see it.
Yeah. Spock once got lost in there for 3 days. And I kind of like this set, and we never see this set again. It's just interesting. It's very different than a lot of the sets that we see.
So there's no patch, and he's beating everybody up.
So security, whose job it was to watch him 24/7, can't find him. But again, those honeycomb grates were there. So do you really blame security?
Okay, so we're here. He's attacking people. No patch.
Yeah, and he's apparently doing the Lazarus neck pinch. I don't even know what he's doing there.
And then the next we see him, he's has a patch, no beard or mustache.
Oh, it's there. You just can't see it. That's how light it was.
But there was no battle in the negative space for them to switch again.
See how wispy it is there? I mean,
the beard kind of reminds me of remember Lethal Weapon 4 when they were in the dentist?
yes. Yes. I mean, I don't even know why they gave him a beard. It's got he's not really he's more humanoid than alien. So what was the big deal? And here we are in Roswell. And Spock has very little to do in this episode.
Except talk about how stupid he is, apparently, because it was radiation and then there wasn't radiation.
Poor Spock is just making excuses and explaining why he didn't originally pick something up.
Now, is this the rock formation from the Gorn scene?
It's this. That's not the same rock formation, but it's the same area. That's Vasquez Canyons, where they filmed. Okay, even that blur effect, pretty cool. Looks like every picture my mother tried to take in the 70s.
So now it's happening over and over really quickly. And I don't...
This is a spinning newspaper.
Right, this is the...
Again, like that effect a lot. Probably would have looked better if they were standing up, but whatever.
So once again, he's up on a cliff.
Captain, look out. I'm about fall again.
And now they're back on the Enterprise.
Yeah, so again, Lazarus has just been telling him, oh, you wouldn't believe me. Well, tell me. He tells him, "Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense." Like, my planet, my Earth. Like, is that supposed to have deeper meaning, or is he just saying my planet like your planet, or like just so many things were just said and just kind of hung out there, and you're like, huh? So he's already lying. So the slang SOB just keeps adding. Oh, I'm a time traveler too. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Where does he come from? Future? Past?
Both. Sure. So you can let him go wander again, Bones.
You know what? I don't think it would make a difference.
Where are those straps that you had Sulu strapped down on? Remember? So McCoy tells him, "Don't worry, that's not going to happen again." And then 15 seconds later, what happens?
He's gone.
He walks out of sickbay. Okay, I laughed out loud at this line. What's obvious about any of this?
I don't. Yeah, it's.
I mean, we're just taking leaps and bounds here to. I don't know what. I guess just to move the story along.
So he calls it a minus universe, which, I mean,
Sure, the people in that universe would appreciate that.
yeah, well, but it could. I mean, it could be, the mirror. Yep, this is as a whole. Lazarus as a whole.
So you refer to it as a tear, and now it's a hole.
It was a rip.
It was a rip. That's right.
Or a simple container.
So now it's Tupperware.
Well, no, Tupperware doesn't leak.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But there's it's only one guy. So what are we worried about? There's no large scale invasion. Oh, so we're going back to the invasion point from 38 minutes ago. Okay.
I'm sorry. That was the applause. Soto just hit a home run. I'm watching the Met game because that's more interesting than this episode. And here comes Pete to strike out.
Look at this.
Now, what do we care about the mental state? I mean, we know it's two people, so you haven't talked to the other one yet.
We know. Well, I don't think we know that until Kirk falls through, and then the good Lazarus on the other side, puts everything together for him. But it's obvious.
So the other side Lazarus is the good Lazarus?
I believe so, yeah.
So who did we run into first? The guy with the Band-Aid?
I think it was the good guy. Actually, didn't he get the Band-Aid when he fell off the cliff the first time?
Yeah, so that was the bad.
I think that was the bad one. Now, this is a guy who didn't want to kill the rock creature. And now he's ready to just kill this Lazarus fella. You mean like a battery? Yes, positive and negative. Oh, that's an understatement.
Now, did they honestly know about that back in the in the 60s about matter and antimatter?
Mm-hmm.
When was that? I guess it was what Einstein.
Yeah, it was around that time of the Manhattan Project, and even probably earlier than that. Oh my God, did this make me laugh? Oh my God, did this make me laugh? So they go into the electronics night deposit box, and he pulls out a napkin. Now, I'm assuming the voltage there in the 23rd century is probably off the charts high.
Yeah, it's probably like 3 volts.
You think so? Maybe more than that. So we use these jumper connectors, and apparently some bent. I don't know what that is. It looked like Rybar, but it's not. Yeah, so he puts this box into smoking mode.
I'm trying to think when I first saw this, I thought of what was it where they walk by, open the door, and just pour water in it.
They walk by, open a door, and pour water in it?
Yeah, it's like a movie that they just like sabotage it with a glass of water.
Oh, that was in the recent Godzilla movie. They short circuited Mecha Godzilla by pouring water on the console.
Oh, okay, yeah. And this thing starts to smoke.
Looks like he's trying to save the lamp.
And she just, I wish I had video because she just like is turning knobs randomly.
yeah, furiously randomly.
She's making it worse.
Okay, so when I first saw this, I thought he split his pants here. So now we've got our crystals. We knock out the guy, and we're going to figure out how to use this this matter descrambler. You know what? He probably checked YouTube before he left.
That is, and this was a dumb line. He's like, "Sir, you shouldn't be in here." Oh, I didn't know. Karate chop.
The only thing missing was the Austin Powers karate chop.
So he's got the lithium crystals wrapped in the blue cloth.
The special high voltage proof blue cloth.
Right, and doesn't look like he has it there, does he?
You know what? I thought the same thing. It looks like it's in his right hand. I don't know if you can tell, but right in his hand, it looks like he's holding something. Okay. So must be fun tooling around the universe in that thing, huh?
He's a time travel. Was that his time travel ship? Is that his DeLorean?
Well, we lied about that. So this is his universe hopping pop-o-matic bubble.
So he's not a time travel.
He's not a time travel. We lied about that.
How do we know?
Well, I think everything out of his mouth so far has been a lie. Out of both of their mouths. Is it Lazarus? Because here comes Jim Kirk. And I thought this was pretty effective. When Kirk gets there, I don't know if you got a shot of it when he's walking around. It's a place that's just as real, but not as brightly lit. A dark side. Now, where's the bubble? Oh, he took it off. There it is.
Isn't that covered in blood? Or is that just a...
I think that's a symbol. It looks like a red star of some sort. Now, unfortunately, if you were paying attention to this episode, you might say, why the hell was this shot inside? When all the other scenes with this vehicle were shot outside. Because of the production delays, usually you shoot your outside stuff first in case of weather. You've got spare days. But because they had to rearrange the scenes to work around the Lazarus stuff, well, they got this guy up to speed on the part. But they did all the interiors, then did the outside stuff, and they simply ran out of time. There was bad weather, so they had to move it inside.
He's got a healthy beard.
Well, that's his antimatter beard.
Yeah, I don't...
What is this even like? This is where it just totally loses me. So you didn't drain his crystals, you drained Kirk's crystals. A sort of negative magnetic corridor where the two parallel universes meet. What? That's gibberish. And it also looks like his beard changed from the previous shots. The continuity is terrible.
I don't understand what's... This is one of those that you just look at it, you just watch it, and you're like, what the...
What did I just watch? What was the point of this? So now his people found a way to slip through. So now this was done on purpose. So good Lazarus's people found a way to slip through to the antimatter other universe.
So now we have, for lack of a better term, evil Lazarus and good Lazarus.
Yeah.
Evil Lazarus found out about good Lazarus and was mad that there was two of them, and needed to get rid of good Lazarus. So
Right.
he could be the only Lazarus.
Yeah, so what is he, Highlander now? There can only be one? There's no motivation. It would have been better if Lazarus said, this is my fault. I was the one who built the machine to test this. I'm the one who encountered him. I'm the one who set him loose in your universe. At least give him a reason for why this is going on. Kirk looks totally unimpressed here, just with his arms folded.
Yeah, and when he said that, he couldn't stand knowing that I live. That reminded me of something else. It wasn't Highlander. was where an evil twin came through and had to destroy. I can't remember. I want to say it's some kind of Marvel. And I know that's not right.
So how about this? Good Lazarus succeeds, gets to the parallel universe, encounters bad Lazarus, who has a breakdown because he was trying to do the exact same thing on his side and can't believe good Lazarus beat him to it. Give the guy some motivation. And why Kirk didn't say, everybody help me push him through this, I don't know.
So I guess evil Lazarus has the patch now.
It would appear so, yeah. And now he throws him through. We get back up there again. No Sulu and Scotty in this episode either. Now, you'd think with all this dilithium crystal shenanigans going on, you'd want your chief engineer involved. And this made me laugh because we're clearly saving money on phasers. We only fire one, where normally we fire two, and it takes forever to vaporize this ship. So what were they on, power savings setting? And here it is, quote of the episode. Kirk summing up how we all feel.
So now they're stuck together in limbo?
The magnetic corridor. And Spock, both universes are safe, right?
Good golly.
Terrible from beginning to end.
What are you still have IMDb open?
I do.
What are some of the user
Let's take a look, shall we?
quotes?
Would I like to rate the alternate factor? Yes, 1 star. Thank you. Okay, so barring my 1 star that I just added, let's see what some of the user reviews are. Flawed, but I don't hate it. Well, this is somebody who clearly didn't watch it to the end.
That's not Drew Barrymore, is it?
No. Let's take a look. Oh, so there's generally, just looking at this quickly, there's generally praise for the performance of guest star Robert Brown, especially under the circumstances. But a lot of people feel that it was just started out with a strong premise and just came apart, the wheels came off of it, which I think you and I agree with.
Yeah, it started out interesting. And then people started talking. Should have been a silent episode.
Mostly incoherent, but a hauntingly memorable ending. Let's see what else we have here. Only the explanation in the last 5 minutes is interesting, but by then it's too late. Yeah, I don't get it either. 1 out of 10. Worst episode of first season, a bit of a clunker. Then there's one, just the beard of Lazarus, bizarre but moderately interesting. Ambitious and interesting idea, weakly executed. The alternate factor needs an alternate script. Awful but memorable. So should have been one of Trek's best, but alas was not. One of the crappiest episodes. Even diehard Trekkies must admit this one was a disappointment. So yeah, this was painful. For me to struggle through watching an episode of Star Trek, any episode of Star Trek, it says a lot.
This is the last Jedi of Star Trek.
This makes the Alan Moraine episode of Deep Space Nine look like Citizen Kane. A bizarre fever dream. That's a good one. Confusing weak entry. What a load of old claptrap. Comically bad. Strike this episode from existence and toss it in the corridor to battle itself forever. Easily the worst episode in the original series. Worst of the first season. A top 3 of my least favorite Trek episodes. Yeah, so not good at all. Now that's a good one.
Universally hated.
It's the wispy beard one. Yes, that is the one. Now, to me, one of the highlights was Lieutenant Masters, who I wish we would have seen again. So, yeah, all around painful. Not one that I would like to revisit anytime soon or ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad. You know, I mean, it's we've had 3 in a row that have been good. Maybe 4, if I can remember correctly. But I know definitely 3 in a row that I enjoyed. This one was not too much. But what do we have coming up on the next one?
Oh, I am so glad you asked that. Coming up next
is palate cleanser.
This is like going from drinking gasoline to drinking champagne. The City on the Edge of Forever, which is considered by most one of the greatest Star Trek episodes of all time.
Joan Collins.
Yep. And there's a ton that we can discuss about that. And then after that, we only have one more episode in season 1. Operation Annihilate.
So next week I have to babysit the grandkids.
Nice.
Which will be fun. And then after that, we'll be back. What's that date?
I don't have. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. So that would be
the 11th, April 11. Right.
According to what I have here, that would be. Let's see. Today's the 28th, the 4th. Whoops! I shot to me. April 11th. That's correct.
Okay, good. So we'll be back April 11th with City on the Edge of Forever, and then one more after that, and then we're gonna do. I'm gonna put together a tier list.
Yeah, I think that would be fun
for the season, and we will go over the tier list, and I know where this episode will land on the tier list. And I might grow my beard out. Have it wispy.
You know what? We should try and bring that look back. Wispy beards and silver bandages, or golden bandages.
Well, you got the bandage going on.
I did. That was a quick stop at Hobby Lobby on the way home. And then I'm going to find out why my camera keeps crapping out.
Yeah, you should plug it in somewhere.
Oh, right. This time I checked that I didn't yank it out with my foot like last week or the week before last.
So,
now I think I know what it was. So I found out, and you guys are going to love this because it's so interesting. Apparently, I had it set to the USB set to conserve power, and it was shutting it off. So I went in, I made the changes, I did all the reconfiguration, but I realized I jumped right in. I should have restarted. So I think that's what, because it's not even picking up the other camera right now. So it went into power conserve mode and then totally disappeared from existence. It winked out.
It winked out. And you know what happens when you wink out? You don't wink in. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for joining us this week. This was the alternative factor. And maybe next time we just skip episodes like this. What do you say?
So we'll be skipping the entire third season?
Maybe.
Oh, at least some of those episodes we can have fun with. They may not be great, but they're entertaining. And they do give us some opportunities for comedy. There was nothing funny about this.
Yeah, this one was a rough one.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm glad it's over and I don't have to watch this one again. This one I might just find out where it lies on my DVD and scrape that section so the DVD just skips over this entire episode.
And you know what's even worse? Paramount went to the trouble to remaster this one. They could have saved some money.
I mean, the effect at the end, the ship looked good.
It's hard for that ship not to look good.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Marty, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Deb was on assignment today. She got stuck in I don't know, was it a rip or a zipper or a pocket or a magnetic field or something?
Yes. So it's best not to discuss these things.
Yes. So
we'll get 3 different stories.
And we'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night. This has been Federation Friday. Marty, we'll talk to you soon.
Live long and prosper, gang.
All righty, let's go Mets.
That's right.